Welcome back, everybody. You are tuned in to the Mo and No Head to Head podcast. You know, this is your boy Mo right here. I got my brother over here, and today we have a special guest. You know, one that speaks dear to my heart. Stand-up guy, man. Father figure, everything, man. Just all around great guy right here. We got the great Coach David Benson here. All right. We want to welcome him to the show. He was my high school football coach all 4 years, and actually my senior year. Hey, it's Black History Month. You know, it's American history. This man right here is living history. He is the first and only African American head football coach at Liberty High School in Kissimmee, Florida, y'all. We want to welcome Coach David Beckham. Oh man, Coach David Benson to the show. I almost said David Beckham. You know, maybe a few seasons we'll get him on, but we got the great Coach David Benson on the show right now. You know, we want to give him a great welcome. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Welcome, Coach.
Thanks, gentlemen. Mo, it's an honor and privilege to be able to be on the podcast with you guys. Greatly appreciate it. As you said, Stephen, it's this is more than just any type of relationship, and from the heart, you're like a son to me as well. So it means a lot. I'm proud to see you doing the things that you do. To be honest with you, I always knew, just from your character and that you were going to be successful one day, and then even more to see two young Black gentlemen doing what you guys do is affirmation that, I guess we're headed in the right direction, man. You guys keep doing what you do, and I'll always be an avid supporter.
Appreciate that, Coach. For sure. You know, they say our generation full of knuckleheads, but a few of us got our heads on straight. We try and do right. So we're gonna jump right into it, Coach. We're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna get your background story. Just tell us, where you're born and raised, what high school you attended, and what you're doing now. What you're doing in your everyday life now.
I was born and raised in Brookline, Massachusetts, a suburb of Boston. Lived there until I was 13. 13 years old. Moved down to Winter Park, Florida. Middle of my 8th grade year, so I started my high school career and attended 4 years at Winter Park High School. It was very historical for me as well because in that process, Florida high schools transitioned from 10 through 12, from 9 through 12. So I was actually the first 4-year class at my high school, at Winter Park High School there. Basketball was my first love until I moved down here, and you know what they say about football in the South. So football took over. Ended up getting a scholarship to Morehouse College in Atlanta, HBCUs, and fell, of course, you don't never want to think that the game is over. So, after attending Morehouse, I tried to pursue a professional career for a minute. Didn't work out. Tried to use my degree, go into, the workforce, because that's what we've been groomed since we were young. Go to college, get the job. But I just found, sitting at a 9-to-5 and being in the cubicle all day, that wasn't for me. So I had to get back to football and started coaching at Gateway High School, 1998 for 7 years. Then went on to Liberty for 7 years. And then now I've been at Winter Park High School for, this is my completion of my 9th year. So just doing what I love. And, I think that's part of the journey of life that so many people miss out on is, are you really doing what you love to do? And secondly, are you doing what you were born to do? And I honestly feel that I'm doing both. So, that's where I'm at now, gentlemen.
That's a strong statement, man. Do what you love to do, man, and do what you're born to do, for sure. You touched on going to the HBCU. That's something that I almost did myself, but I actually went to a PWI. which is crazy, a whole different spectrum. But could you give us a little insight on the HBCU experience, like what you experienced, and also give us a little insight on what you think of the HBCU experience now? You know, we just had the Legacy Bowl was just played a few days ago, so that's something brand new. These guys are getting some new exposure. Could you weigh in on that?
Definitely. One thing about the HBCU experience is that stood out for me is the brotherhood. You know, I made a lifetime network of brothers, you know, came from my same background, a lot of them the same stories. Um, you know, some probably were D1 prospects, chose to go to HBCUs. And, and here's the thing, I think not everybody can or be, maybe I guess I would say lucky or just good timing. But I happened to go through Atlanta when Atlanta was blowing up, when Atlanta like became Atlanta through the Freakniks and you know the Little Johns were emerging. Matter of fact, I used to you know just to make some spare money, I was a bar back in the club that Little John was a DJ in. So you know I really got to see like the origins of crunk music and um, had to be no doubtedly the funnest part of my life. Like I would not change it for the world. When it comes to HBCU football, though, there's definitely the major difference. And Dion mentioned this earlier in the year on a podcast as well. Is it's really the interior, like the linemen, the front seven, like the linebackers and linemen. But you find skill guys in HBCUs that can match up with skill guys, you know, at Power Five. You know, I when I was fortunate enough to go to my regional combine and I was going up against D1 corners, you know, I was eating. You know, I my combine I put up numbers with, you know, some of the top receivers in the nation in my combine. You know, I ran a high 4.40. I ran a four flat shuttle. I benched 225 17 times. Like the only difference was I just didn't have the film work that they did, you know, and then yeah, and what it also comes down to is just the resources. They're non-existent at HBCUs when it comes to strength and conditioning, when it comes to nutrition, and you know, that's really what separates the HBCUs from the Power Fives. You know, you know, being a young black man at a HBCU when Dr. Martin Luther King is you know the statue figure on your campus, you got to think about it. What if every major D1 or let's say black D1 prospect just said, you know what? Nah, we gonna take this back to the HBCUs. So you mean to tell me you don't think the HBCU would be a national champ with the right coaching and you know I think Dion's doing a great job. I think he's got it heading in the right direction. Just hopefully he'll stay there, and then Eddie George can pick up. And a lot of people don't know this, but the head coach at Howard too, he came from Power Five schools. You know, I actually worked with him at a couple coaching clinics before. So, but it's you know it's going to take. There's going to have to be people get involved. Like you know, for Puffy's an alumni at Howard. So maybe he could put an investment group together, upgrade facilities at Howard. I'm sure Dion's going through that process. From what I hear, TSU's got a phenomenal facilities as it is. So Eddie George might be a step ahead of the curve. But if these three coaches can just start to get good recruiting classes like Dion is, you're going to see a change in the dynamic. Now, I mean, are all prospects going to jump ship? No, but I think this is definitely a stone cast in the waters that's creating the ripple. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they got Hugh Jackson at Grambling too, the old Browns coach.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're right. Right, he is. He just signed on, didn't he? This month, I think.
Yeah.
Within the last month.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So there's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff right there, man. So I want to ask
Yeah.
you a question. I want to backtrack, right? So this podcast is, about guys going through the transition, right? So you didn't make it to the league. A lot of, I got a car right before my little regional combine, so I couldn't participate. So I kind of had to start figuring stuff out after that. So how was that process once you figured out, man, I'm not gonna get drafted, that part of my life is over with, man. What do I do now? How do you approach your degree? Like, look at your degree, like, damn, did I do the right degree? Did I take the right classes? Did I, get the right degree for me to do what I want to do in life? You know what I'm saying? What was the eye-opening moment? You're like, damn, like, what am I doing? Like, what do I, how do I find my niche? How do I find my career, my love, my passion? I feel like a lot of people struggle with that.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. The statistics show that like 25% of Americans are doing, or shall I say, 25% of Americans with college degrees are doing what they got their degree for. So so the other 75% all went through that process. But for me, it was just the itch of being away from the game. I think just realizing and seeing the numbers of athletes that don't make it from HBCU, I kind of saw the writing on the wall. But then in the process of me still pursuing my NFL or pro career for about maybe a year after I graduated, I was substitute teaching. So of course that gives you the flexibility to kind of, if you got to go to a workout or something like that. But in that process, it was funny because I was substituting at Gateway High School, and I was in the PE classroom, and the head coach at that time, I was still, I guess I looked young enough. He thought I was one of the students, like a new student. So he's like, hey man, do you play football? Why don't you come play for me? I looked at this dude, I'm like, bro. I said, I'm a substitute teacher. And, so the conversation started about football, and he asked what I like to coach. So I was like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how I'm going to mesh or vibe with high school students, because I was a little bit volatile at the time, and, just seeing how students were. But I was like, this happened for a reason. I still have love and passion for the game. And I was in a, predominantly minority community. So it's like, this could be my opportunity to give back to help those athletes be better than I was, with being able to give them the knowledge that they actually need to be successful. So, I started coaching, and then here I am 24 years later. It's like, once I got in, it was like I knew this was what I was supposed to do. That I was also in a internship with Bank of America for, the management program. Like, just being in that office, the same routine every single day. It's like, nah, this isn't it. So, you interacting with kids. Every kid is going to have a different attitude every day, so it's never a dull moment. You get people like Stephen, a.k.a. Big Bama, that these kids, they bring a light into, it's the funny thing is you'll hear kids say, oh, yeah, this coach influenced my life, this and that and the third. But, Bama, and I'm sure, with you as well, y'all got to realize that y'all influence our lives just as much. For me to sit back here and watch all these kids that I've coached go on to be successful, and they always reach out and always say thanks, and hey, let's get together for a drink if you're in town. Can I buy you dinner? And then we stay chopping it up. It's like, you guys are just a much, well, at least with me, because I know that's how I established my relationship with my players. Is they're just as much or integral part of my life as I was theirs.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. You want to talk about going out to have a drink? Man, I remember my first summer coming back from school, bro. and we went out for your birthday,
Oh my
and
God.
we went to see you. Oh, bro, oh, the boys had me. But I was asleep in the booth. I I got up, drunk me
Yeah.
some water. Made it out to my car, fell asleep, woke up sober enough. I went home. I ain't even say nothing, bro. I was like,
That was a wild night, man. That was
hey,
wild.
I had enough.
hey, that was a funny night, man.
He
That
said
was a
I had
great
enough.
night. I had enough,
Yeah, man.
man.
That was.
But yeah, yeah, man. So you speak on your journey with coaching and everything. And it's crazy because that's how I met you. You know, I met you back in what, 07, 08.
Yep.
Back at Liberty. You was actually coaching the defensive line. And that's the crazy part because, Coach Benson, he's a wide receiver. You could tell it in the stature and everything like that. And he played wide receiver. But this man was coaching defensive line. And when I say he was coaching the boys, he was coaching the boys. He had some dogs from end to end. I'm talking about all of them, even the backups, the young guys. Man, I'm gonna shout out one of my homeboys. Hey, Akia. That was the fastest fool off the line of scrimmage, off the ball, ever. I'm talking about. By the time I twitched my hand when I played center, man, he was already 2 steps past me. And I'm telling you, every single day I used to watch Coach Benson work with them with get offs and stuff like that. But this man played receiver. So just tell us a little bit, dive into your coaching, man, because you just don't coach football. You're the head weightlifting and strength and conditioning coach at Winter Park right now. You was also there at Liberty, to be honest with you. So yeah, man, just dive into that.
I'll be honest with you, Stephen. That when I started coaching the defensive line, that was the most nervous part of my career because I had never ever done it. Like, so you think, all right, so playing receiver, of course, I'm gonna be able to coach receivers, running backs, defensive backs, because their skill sets are very similar. I actually had, you may remember Coach Seibel. We sat down because he's the one who taught me. He taught me how to coach defensive line. We sat down when Coach Nick said, I'm going to move you to the defensive line because that first year I did coach the receivers, and then he had some turnover on the staff, so he's like, look, I need you to coach the defensive line. Boy, let me tell you something. My stomach I was like, oh my God, I'm about to journey into a world that I have no clue about. So I sat down with Coach Seibel because that was his forte for a while. We sat and chopped it up for about 2 hours. And he said, listen, so you just need to be able to focus on teaching those guys how to read blocks, down drive, reach. So, we were actually like sitting up in their office, like going through drills. He's showing me we're putting bodies on bodies. I'm like, oh my God. But then what I would have realized is that there's still a lot of athleticism in that group. So I'm saying to myself, and this is, I think what you were seeing a lot is I would incorporate a lot of receiver, like footwork, keeping their feet light so that they can move and get off blocks, as well as, your typical D-line punch, read, resist, fight double team, stuff like that. So, I would say that was the funnest part of my coaching career was actually working with the D-line. It's never a dull moment. You're coaching receivers. How many routes can you run? How many passes can you catch? How much time can you spend on stop blocking? When you're down in them trenches, there's something to work on every day. You got a game plan for the next opponent, whether they run base, whether they pass base. You got a different skill set each week. So that was the best time of my coaching career right there. But I'm the type of person that I feel as though if I don't know or if I'm not confident in what I'm doing, I can't teach anybody else. So in regards to my coaching career, I wanted to make it a point to coach as many positions on the field before I became a head coach. Because, who am I to sit there and yell at you saying that this isn't being done right, and I don't know myself. So, before I became a head coach, I coached every position on the field except the offensive line. I know how to scheme. I can scheme the hell out of it, but, that's another animal. Maybe I'll be fortunate enough to jump in with them before my career is over. But as well as, as far as the strength and conditioning, I was always a hard worker, and so I always did what it takes to give myself the edge. And of course, those roots go back to Winter Park High School because our coaches pushed us in that envelope of being bigger, faster, and stronger than our opponents. So, and then once you kind of get addicted to working out, it's everybody has an addiction. It's like, yeah, that was mine. And then probably, let me see, it had to be maybe 2008, no, maybe 2005-ish, 2005, 2006. You start to see that there was a change coming in strength and conditioning, as it wasn't just about how much weight you could lift. Now it's like, all right, it's starting to become a combination of strength and agility. And, how does it transfer onto the field? So, that's that. A thing about me is I'm always going to want my body to be or feel the best that it can. And in order to do that, you got to make sure that everything's in sync. So, from that, at Gateway, they turned the strength and conditioning over to me, and me being the type of person that I am, what I would do every year, they used to have, a coaches clinic, the Nike Coach of the Year clinic in Orlando. And I used to sit down with some of the head strength coaches from, all over the nation, like the Alabamas, the LSU, Georgia, Florida States, Tennessee. I mean, you name it. I would just sit down and with high school, the whole object is for high school players that can play college football is they need to be ready when they make it to college. So my philosophy is, all right, well, I need to start modeling the strength and conditioning program after the college programs so that, when kids are fortunate enough to go on to the next level, they're ready. So, for the last 17 years, that's what I've been doing. I built a rapport with some of the big wigs, strength and conditioning guys, where I'll pick up the phone and just, hey, coach, what are y'all doing different this year? What is your focus? What have you seen change the athletes? So every year I'll make a little tweak here and there to strength and conditioning and mobility. I think that's the big thing right now is mobility. How do you make your athletes? How can they flip their hips? How flexible are they? Because all that stuff transfers into gains strength-wise and makes them a better football player in general. Their ability to change direction, to close. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And that's the thing about it, that there's always going to be something different every year, and I just pride myself in making sure, because if our players are already, strengths-wise, mobility-wise, they're going to be the best version of them on the field, which of course translates to victories. So, that's where I'm at right now with it, man.
That's good stuff, man. A lot of people sleep on that nowadays, especially mobility, man. That stuff can keep you healthy. Keep you healthy too. Keep you on the field too, man.
And it's crazy because ever since I took over the strength at Winter Park, we don't have any soft tissue injuries. Like, we don't have any pulls, tears. The injuries that we have are the ones that are like really unavoidable, like ACL, stuff like that. But the quads, the hammies, all that stuff, our guys are right, man. even the athletic trainer said, you know, ever since you took over, she's seen a complete 180-degree turn in the way that our athletes look. You know, the reoccurrences of them being in the athletic training room. So, you know, our athletes have to take care of us. So in turn, you know, we got to take care of them.
Exactly.
So I got a question for you, right? So we got Florida, Texas, California, you know, top dogs in the nation when it comes to high school football. When it comes to resources, I say Texas is number one. You know, a lot of them schools got indoors, coaches for days on staff, all of them getting paid great money. So what's your opinion on Florida? You know, Florida produces a great amount of, you know, a whole bunch of athletes, D1, a lot of them make it to the league. But at the same time, the coaches don't really, I feel like in my opinion, don't get the respect they deserve when it comes to pay. Granted, you know, a lot of people do it for the love. I coach for the love. But at the same time, you know, every single year prices are
It's a
going
lot
up.
of
Prices are
hours,
going
man.
up. You know what I'm saying? Prices are going up. You know, life's getting a little tougher. You know, coaches sacrifice a lot of time in their personal lives, you know, away from their family, you know, taking care of other people's kids and helping them be successful without, you know, greater reward. You know, so what's your opinion on coaches for the pay?
I agree with you 100%. It's a crying shame. I mean, here it is. You got the best talent in the nation, puts the most athletes in the NFL. Somebody in legislation needs to take care of that. I mean, you know, it's not like the money's not here. So, I mean, if you look at the numbers, a lot of good Florida coaches are coaching in Georgia right now because of that reason. You know, I mean, you sit back and you scratch your head as you know, whoever it is, the governor, they know that they're in position to do something about it. And they know that year in and year out, this state puts, you know, it's a hotbed for recruiting, hotbed for athletes in the NFL. So yeah, you know, coaches should be rewarded, you know, but it's going to take somebody maybe with a football background, or maybe that was played football in high school, or you know, maybe they have some football coaches in their family and realize that, you know, one, you're losing a lot of coaches to Florida, I mean to Georgia, even some. I know a couple that have made it all the way out to Texas. I mean, I had a couple coaching opportunities in Georgia and Texas. But, you know, I mean, what makes it hard to leave is, you know, you got cats like Mama and stuff like that. You start to get attached to the kids, and then, you know, after it's a big transitional move, and you know, now you got to worry about if you're in the right spot. And I'm gonna be honest with you, being, you know, I went to college in Georgia for 5 years. There's something about this Florida sunshine that keeps you here. You know, I mean,
I miss it every day.
we only get a couple
That
cold
big
weeks a
calling
year,
me,
you know.
man.
I miss it every day, man. Shoot. I'll be depressed in this cold, man.
I
God,
bet,
man.
bro.
You
Tired,
already know about
son.
New
Man,
England.
let me tell you
You
something.
know about New
Yeah,
England.
yeah. When I shoveling snow, your dang fingers, your toes turning blue, stuff like that. But listen,
Oh,
when I moved down here in 1986 in December, and I stayed with my aunt, and on Christmas Day, it's 86 degrees, and we out on the court hooping after we open presents and whatnot. I'm like, man, you know, and I just left from feet of snow, feet, and I'm like, all right, you know, and this Florida sunshine, it does something to you, man. It's hard to get away from. It really is.
Yeah, it really is, man. I'm trying to get back, some
really?
way, somehow, you know. So I'm gonna ask you a question, Coach. You know, throughout your coaching career, what has been like your toughest job?
The toughest job was at Gateway High School. Um, you got to think. I came from a football pro. Well, I'm going to take you way back and bring you through my transition. At Winter Park High School, I think the 4 years I was there, I think we lost. In 4 years, I think we lost 6 games. So,
Damn.
you know, when I say like Friday night football, boys, if you wasn't at the game by like 6:30, you was gonna be standing. So, winning was an expectation. So now I transitioned to Morehouse, and I just happened to get there right when they were making the transition themselves, because they weren't always a predominant, they weren't always a good football program, but they had finally went out and got them a good coach. So my freshman year, we tied for the conference championship. We were competitive for 2 years after that. Then, well, my second year there, our head coach, he was fortunate enough, because of the success he had his first year, he ended up getting a job at Georgia Tech, but they kept, they kept the job in-house. So we were good for another couple years, and then it's just monetary things. I could go on and on about that. That may be another topic. But so with that being said, we for 3 years we lost tremendously, and I'm like, mentally that it does something to you. So then, I get to Gateway High School, and I'm the type of person like, all right, yeah, I know the school's got a losing tradition, but we're gonna change that. And fortunately, it didn't change. So I think it's a very humbling experience to be on the losing side of things, because it makes you appreciate the wins more. So here I started my coaching career, and, we're going like 1-9, 2-8, 3-7. And I mean, and the losses are losses. We're getting run out the stadium. But, the saving grace in that was, in that whole time, we still had a couple all-state athletes, and, we had got to the point where we were putting kids into college. We had a couple real competitive seasons there at the end. So now I'm starting to see how this whole high school thing really works. Transitioning forward out to Liberty High School, it was a breath of fresh air that I needed, because, going from like 3 years, my back 3 years at college, we're getting blown out the stadium. Now my first, 3 years of high school, we're getting blown out the stadium. And then going out to Liberty was a brand new high school. I think they did, the principal at the time, Gary Pricer, did a great job in selecting Doug Nichols. He was a great coach. We jumped in. The first season was, I think we went, what was it, man? I think we went like 3-7 maybe as an opening
Yeah,
school.
3-7.
Yeah, and then, but that next year, was that your sophomore or junior year when we went 9-3?
That was my junior year. Because
Yeah,
the
so
sophomore year we went 4-6, and then we went 8-3. 8-3. That's what
yeah,
we went.
and so, but that that point, at Gateway, just getting the doors blown off, that was probably the low part of my coaching career. But from adversity, there's always a lesson. And now that I went through Liberty, we had some success there, and now I'm back at my alma mater, which has always been one of the top programs in the state. It just makes you appreciate the wins that much more. Like, I don't take anything for granted anymore. This is the grind, and to be able to have these wins consecutive seasons, it's hard work. So, all the other stuff coming up, all those losses, and it humbled me and made me appreciate where I'm at now. But I'm telling you, man, some of them nights, we had nightmares about that stuff. Seeing them kids run up and down the damn field, you think the damn lights on the scoreboard are gonna blow up. I'm like, Yeah, but that was definitely a low point in my coaching career. But I'm very thankful that I went through it because I'm just I'm more appreciative of it now. So
It's a scoreboard was overheating.
what?
Of course, I got a
Sometimes I
question
ain't
for you.
never seen numbers. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I ain't never seen numbers flip that fast.
I got a question for you, Coach. So you went to Moorhead. This is for the younger viewers, man. How'd you keep your head on straight? Going to Moorhead, you got Moorhead, you got Clark Atlanta, Georgia Tech, Georgia State in one city. And like you said, it was starting to become Atlanta, hip hop, all that stuff, attention was starting to come to Atlanta. How'd you keep your head on straight? How'd you make it through? If you're here right now, you made it through. How'd you do it?
Well, I'll be honest with you. At Morehouse, we had it was called the Atlanta University Center. So Morehouse and Spelman have adjoining campuses with Clark, and then down the street was Morris Brown. So I'm gonna throw this number at you. Within a square mile, the ratio of women to men was 17-1.
Oh man!
So I'm gonna be completely honest with you. That first year and a half, I didn't keep my head on straight.
But wow!
I literally almost flunked out. The pivotal point was I got called into the head coach's office one day, and when I walked in there, my mom was on speakerphone because, no lie, my GPA had dropped to like a 1.7 because all I was doing, I was lifting, going to practice, and partying. I went to class when I wanted to, if I wanted to. But my mom said that I'm coming home. I was like, oh no, I ain't coming home.
I ain't going home.
So the next semester I made the national dean's list. But bro, it was so hard to keep focused. And I think once I realized what I was throwing away, I kind of calmed down. And then just being around maybe the right dudes, your brothers, your teammates, keeping, telling you when you messing up, it's funny because one of the kids that I brought in on his recruiting trip, he's still one of my homeboys to this day. He's from Zephyr Hills, right out there in the Tampa area. He owns a Wingstop out there, but this dude was like so focused, and his drive to be successful was like contagious. Like, we were roommates for a minute, and like he would get on me. He'd be like, look, bro, man, you got to get up and go to class. Like, sometimes he would sit there and mess with me until I got up. But at some point in time, you realize the sacrifices that people in your family and expectations from people in your family, and not only was I a mama's boy, but I was a grandmama's boy too. And just, thinking of letting her down and letting my mom down, and finally the light went on, and, knowing that, I had to grow up to be a man. So you start to realize your priorities, and, things just worked itself out. Now, don't get me wrong, I still got it in, but you realize when it's time to cut it off,
Yeah, you gotta have a time and place. That's all college is time management, man. That's all it is, to be real with you.
And I mean, to be around some of the most beautiful black women on the planet, and it was an experience that I would do it all over. Like, even right now, like if I knew what I knew, even then, like, when anybody was knocking on the door, like Alabama and stuff like that, if I knew I was gonna go through that era in time in Atlanta, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I'm going back there. And I would invite all y'all to come with me. Y'all be like, man, you wasn't lying. You wasn't lying at all.
I was stuck in Kansas.
Only imagine, man. Only imagine.
Yeah.
That's when like BET Spring Bling was just jumping and everything
Yep.
and stuff like
Man,
that.
listen, I can give you a list of the people that I hung out with in Atlanta, from Ludacris, Snoop Dogg, Uncle Luke, Dion, Tupac. I met Tupac. That was a wild night. Now I didn't even know what I was like. Whoa! But just going through, I met Outkast like right when they first started to blow up. I'm sitting here like, you think back and you always hear that saying that everything happens for a reason or a place and time. So I just felt like, that's, now that I'm all grown looking back, I think that was meant for me to be, I wouldn't trade it for the world at all. At all.
That's dope. That's dope. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, Coach. We talked about, especially on the podcast, we always talking about like working out and being healthy and stuff like that. And shoot, you still be coaching me up in the gym, man. He's still coaching me up. I just got a question for you, man. A lot of people, they might not notice about you, but do you still be boxing? Because I remember you was boxing for a minute. Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah. Listen, and you guys can attest to this because y'all been lifting since high school. It gets monotonous. Same routines. I just got to the point where I had to find something different. So, you remember DJ Nails?
Yeah.
So he had posted this thing at the a boxing gym, and it just happened to be that it was right around the corner from my house. So I'm like, all right, let me go. I need some form of cardio because I'm not just a guy that can get out there and beat the track and run miles and miles during the week. That's not me. So I'm, I was getting, of course, I'm a little bit older now, and the gym thing is just, I'm in burnout mode. I'm like, I need something different. So, we're all competitors, and so I'm like, let me try this boxing thing out. And now don't get me, this isn't like, like title boxing, like when you go in there and it's like a boxing class, and this is like some real, they train you to be a boxer in there, and you get into the ring and spar and all that stuff. And I honestly, I think if I had to do it all again, because I remember my dad had got me into boxing when I was real little, and you always find something else, basketball, whatever. But I think if I had to do it all over again, I would have stayed with it because it's an individual sport, which is the only way you're going to get better is to work on yourself. So it's all self-satisfaction, And I'm gonna tell you what, I don't care how many 40s you run or what kind of drills you've done for football in the past. 3 minutes, one round, that'll be the longest 3 minutes of that'll be your life when you ain't ready. I swear, because they advance you. The gym I went to, when you're training, they advance you slowly to the point where you can spar. Now you don't have to if you don't want to. But man, you know me, I'm gonna get in there. I'm trying to see what this action is about. You know what I'm saying? So I got.
Let me test what I learned.
Yeah, but I think the guy that I got in there, he was like a semi-pro, like about to go pro. And I'm sitting in there. I'm like, all right, I'm doing my thing. I'm holding my own, dancing around, right? And I started to get tired. And I'm thinking to myself, all right. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, all right. The round's almost over. So I circled back around the ring, bro. I circled back around the ring where I could see the clock. Only a minute and a half had gone by, bro. Bro, that dude wore me out for the next minute and a half. I said, I'm good. But you know what? It made me want to be better, and I love the shape that I was getting into, my stamina and everything. And there's always, it's very like football. There's always something to work on to make yourself better. And then one of the best boxers in the United States was training there too. So I started, his pops was my trainer. So, matter of fact, I'm gonna give a little plug right now if y'all don't mind. But on
Go
March
ahead.
19th, Madison Square Garden, ESPN, watch the prelim card for he's out of Orlando, Florida. His name is Armani Almastica, but he's fighting on the pre-fight card, ESPN, March 19th, Madison Square Garden. That's the team that I had trained with. So, but yeah, that boxing is where it's at, bro. That boxing is where it's at. I got it, man. I got a bag and all that stuff set up in my garage now.
Oh man, yeah, you got deep into it, man. The closest thing I done got to that was when I did wrestling in high school, and like you said, man, that's the longest 3 minutes of your life.
Yeah.
The longest 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Any sport like that, man, that you really get in the best shape of your life. That was probably the best shape of my life when I was wrestling.
Man, it's so funny.
You ever get like go ahead.
Go ahead.
I believe it. Shoot, like if you get in like a street fight, you tired during the fight. Like I can only imagine the structure, in a boxing fight.
Yeah, but exactly. Just think when you get tired in a street fight, you can grab that dude and slam him. You can't do that. Listen, my first mid session, I went home and I could not lift my arms. They were trembling so bad. It took about an hour before I could eat. Like they were literally. You just don't realize all the muscles and stuff that you never even thought about using during football. It's like, I love it.
Yeah.
Let me try that.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Coach. Tell us a Bama story. What's the tie that he was getting a pain in the ass? Just being a hard time with you back in the day, high school.
Oh, here you go. You ever seen somebody break their big toe doing the damn Soldier Boy?
Here this guy go.
This man right here. What? Bro, he show up. He show up one day with a cast. He show up with a cast on his foot one day. Everybody talking about something. What happened? Yeah, he broke his toe trying to dance. So hey, I mess with him to this day about that. My man broke his toe trying to do the damn Soldier Boy.
Whatever, man.
Damn, how'd you do that?
Whatever.
Were you hit a wall or something?
Bruh, I kicked the bottom of the bench, bruh. Like first off, all right, I'm gonna get the story right. First off, ain't nobody was dancing, bro.
Hey, you know what he said? You know what he said when he kicked the bottom of that bench, right?
See, here you go with this shit.
Oh man.
Here you go with this shit, man.
Oh, so that.
Bro. But yeah, man, that was hurt. I was hurt, bro.
Yeah.
That shit hurt for real, bro. I took my sock over my damn toes over there like that, like throwing up a whole gang sign, man. I was like, man, that shit was wild. I was hurt. I missed like half of the season that year, and then the very next year I broke my ankle, bro. I was pissed, bro. I missed 2 football seasons back to back.
I've been there, man.
I was pissed, bro.
I've been there before, ankle to ankle. That shit sucks.
I knew he was gonna say that shit.
That's crazy.
Whatever, man. Whatever. So, Coach, man, I already know that you're no nation. You a Florida State Seminole at the heart. We got this Pelican over here. He think the U is back. I just want to know from your perspective what your outlook is on the Seminoles, man. How you think we're gonna be doing next year?
Well, I think with all of us right here, we watch football not as a fan, but we watch as coaches, as players. So, what I've noticed under Norvell and, also having an inside track because we got a couple boys up there. But schematically, they're doing things a lot better. You can see it on the field that the players have bought in. Executing wise, look at the numbers that they're putting up. I think he's got it headed in the right direction. My only fear is, will the admin give him time? But I mean, I think we're there. We have to build around Jordan Travis. I think they need to let him affect the game a little bit more with his feet.
Yeah.
We were for the last 2 years, we've been the youngest team in the nation. And, just from a coach's perspective, watching them execute, they're getting better. So I think the games that we lost by, the games that we lost close last year, I think that we'll win those games close this year. And then the year after that, we'll be back where we need to be, because he's starting to get some good recruiting classes in there as well. And as for Miami, I think that they did a good job with Mario Cristobal, with the hiring of Mario Cristobal. But I just don't. Here's the thing: I just don't think that they can keep. The reason they were so good in the past was they were able to keep those kids there. I just don't think they can't do it anymore. And it's not just with them. Yeah, but if you notice, Florida schools in all are struggling. You go back.
Yeah, we can't keep nobody here.
Yeah, you go back and look at when Florida State, and Miami, when they were the elite teams in the nation, 85 to 90% of their roster were Florida kids, and it's not like that anymore. Parents are getting smarter, kids are getting smarter, and realize I'm not going to go and be second or third string at one of these schools when I can go out to the Midwest or somewhere else and start and increase my chances of getting to the league. So, I think coaching is getting better. So there's a lot of factors. I don't know. It's going to be exciting to see if we can get these Florida schools back to where they need to be. Because, college football was at its best when Florida State, and Miami were always in the top 10.
Yep.
And you got to take your hat off to Nick Saban, because he's doing his job. He's kicking everybody's butt recruiting. So,
for real.
Yep.
Shoot.
The way
the state set up right now, it look like UCF the best team in the state.
Lights.
Yeah, know what?
Man.
What happened was, what's his name? Scott Frost did a heck of a job recruiting.
Hell of a job, man.
But Hypo, he should have. He should have.
I think he should have stayed.
I don't think Hypo's recruiting team wasn't as good as Frost, so they kind of lived off of those coattails. And then, so we'll see.
Ain't Gus there now, right? Gus Malzahn, right?
Yeah, so we'll see. One of my college teammates is actually on the staff with Gus Malzahn, and so he gives me an inside track on what's going on. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if he's able to at least do somewhat of the job that he did at Auburn, if he can keep Florida kids here, he'll be successful. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
So what you thought about the Super Bowl, Coach?
Well, I'm a Patriots fan first and a Rams fan second. But I just think that with the inefficiency of the Bengals offensive line, it was just bound to happen.
Yep.
I called it the podcast for the Super Bowl. I called it.
You did.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to the line play.
Yep. And, the only thing that would have changed that game was if the Bengals could have run the ball successfully. That would have kept some of them dudes at bay. But they just couldn't do it. I'll take my hat off. They kept it close. I think I think that going forward, if the Bengals are able to lock down some some good offensive linemen in free agency this year. They're going to be hell. But I mean, for the Super Bowl itself, when you got them, when you got guys out there running around like Aaron Donald and Von Miller, and when you can create one-on-one matchups, can't nobody block Aaron Donald one-on-one.
Nobody go block that man.
Nobody.
Yeah. When they finally made that adjustment after halftime, and I called it because I told my wife, I was like, hey, watch, they're gonna go into halftime, they're gonna see that the center been turning towards Aaron Donald every single play. I said they're gonna line that defensive line up so where Aaron Donald gonna be one-on-one and he gonna eat the entire second half. That's exactly what they did.
They put his ass out there at the 3 tech, and it was a game. It was game time.
It was over. Because if they brought the center all the way down, all they did was looping Von Miller back around into that wide gap, and it was open. Yeah, I was like, man, it's too easy. It's too easy.
Yeah, I've been saying that all year. That O-line, that Bengals O-line.
I ain't gonna harp on that because the Bucks should have been there, but it's all right. You know, we got hurt. It's all right. Tom was gonna get him another one. Oh. We sent y'all Eagles home first round.
Yeah, he at the crib now, chilling. Retired. Find y'all quarterback.
My dog retired, man.
Find y'all quarterback. Have fun.
That's all right.
You got a Patriots fan first. That's the thing. One thing about New England people, bro, they love the damn Patriots. I'm sick of seeing it. All I see is Patriots.
Let me tell you something. I love
Tom Brady.
Hey, you got to remember now. Hey, when I was there, they wasn't good at all. They got
you're a true fan,
for real. The year that I moved down to Florida was the year they went to the Super Bowl, and that kind of turned things around. So, you know, it was just kind of like you said, it's just that northeastern. So, you know, it's kind of like now you can embrace it.
Hey, once again, everybody, thank y'all for tuning in, man, to the MoandOthepod Head-to-Head podcast. We want to thank our guest, Coach Benson, man. He dropped a lot of knowledge on us, dropped a lot of great stories, man. I hope y'all enjoyed his stories, man. Yeah, a lot of good stuff and a lot of stuff you could take out of it and put into your life and everyday life. So, once again, thank y'all for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, let your friends know about our show. This will be dropping every Thursday, man. So once again, thank y'all for listening. Y'all take care. Stay blessed.